Hey there, Discover Family Church. Welcome back to another edition of Pastor Johnny on Safari during the coronavirus devotion. It's a lot of words. If you're like me, you're probably spending a little bit more time watching Netflix or Hulu or Amazon Prime or something like that. And there's a show, and I think it's on Amazon Prime, but it was a show that was on years ago called on HBO that was called Band of Brothers. It was a documentary. And it's about the airborne rangers in the Army in World War II, specifically about Easy Company, because they had battalions in the Army, and this is one of my favorite miniseries. It's brutal. It's a World War II show, and it depicts some of the harshness of what really happened during that time. But I do love the whole story of the Band of Brothers, and in it, they're following along, not the whole army. They're actually following on because the army is split up into different battalions, and then they have each battalion has companies, and it's following around the Easy Company. And Easy Company was part of the 101st Battalion, and the Easy Company is a company that, even if you don't know anything about the story, you've probably heard of Easy Company. Easy Company was an incredible story about what happened to them and through them all through World War II. They're a company of airborne rangers, which means they were paratroopers. They would jump out of planes behind enemy lines. And they did this during D-Day. They jumped behind the enemy line during D-Day in Normandy. And they fought basically on the front lines, or actually past the front lines, until the day that Germany gave up, till they surrendered. The entire war, they never had a chance to take time off. Incredible things that they did. And there's one of the stories, and an entire episode or two is given to it during the miniseries. Happened in Bastogne, this village of Bastogne in Germany, and it's an incredible story if you ever want to read it. About in Bastogne, the Germans were pushing so hard that the army basically said, "We're out." And the army was like, "We're gone. We are leaving." They retreated so they could rebuild defenses everywhere, and at the same time as they're walking out, Easy Company is walking in, saying, you're leaving? All right, we're taking over for you. We're going in there. And their job was to go to this little town of Bastogne and to hold the enemy line there, or hold the line there until the army was able to get established in other places. It's an incredible story. In fact, it's if you read in history, they try to say that George Patton was the one who saved Easy Company. But all the way throughout history, and all the way, there's never been a single, so in the last 70 years, never been a single member of Easy Company that said that they needed rescuing from Patton. Basically, they won't admit it because they were Easy Company. They were together, and they were fighting this war together. If you watch the miniseries, at the very end, they have interviews with all these guys from Easy Company. And by this point, they're all old men, and they're sitting there. And they're interviewing them, and these are the guys that you've just watched an entire 15 hours worth of TV about. And one of them says something in it. He says he's talking about his grandson. He talks about how he treasures the moment, a memory that he has with his grandson, when his grandson looked at him and said, "Grandpa, were you a hero in the war?" And you watch in this as the old man smiles and he tears up. You see, most of them didn't want to be soldiers. They weren't trying to be soldiers. They were just helping because the nation needed them to at that time. And they said, "We're going to do what we have to do." And so he tears up and he says, "No, Grandpa wasn't a hero, but he was in a company of heroes." Can I tell you, especially the last few weeks, with everything going on in the world, it's amazing how much weight can fall on my shoulders as a pastor. And I've made the joke multiple times, but it's not really a joke, it's true, is that I'm working 3 times harder right now than I have to when we're having regular church, just trying to coordinate and get all this stuff so that we have stuff available for everybody and can keep reaching out and keep making a difference in the world, connecting you guys to each other, connecting our company together. But the cool thing is that I'm not the hero that God needs right now. but I'm in a company of heroes. Discover Family Church, you guys aren't just attenders or people that come to the congregation or show up to service. And you're not just heroes. You're in a company of heroes. Other pastors and our lead team, people that are making phone calls to see if people are okay and dropping off food for those who can't go to the grocery store. People that on Sunday mornings when we have church are greeting at the door or outside. People that are directing traffic on the way in or setting up banners and signs. Sound guys who come here 2 hours before anybody else to make sure that the sound sounds right. People that are recording devotionals for you in our kids department and loving on our kids even when they can't be in the same room with them. You're not the hero that God needs, but you're in the company that God needs. God's not looking for you to be the one that changed the world. He's looking for us, the church, to change the world. Listen what it says in 1 Corinthians 9. It says, "To the weak I become weak, that I might win the weak. I become all things to all people, that by all means I might save some. I do it all for the sake of the gospel, that I may share with them in its blessings." It's not about us being everything. I can't be everything that this church needs. But I'm going to do what I can to reach out to you guys. And it's going to take all of us doing what we can to reach out and make a difference, to change the world. We are not the heroes that God needs, but we're in the company of heroes that God wants to use today. Discover Family Church, you're heroes. And I can't wait to see how God uses us in the middle of all this garbage to change the world. I love you guys. Thank you. Thank you for letting me serve next to you in the front lines. I'll see you soon.